Today I'm taking you to one of my favorite places in the world. We are at the Dutch coast in Zeeland and I have a special reason why I'm here. I love to make sea-themed cards and I have a fun one cooked up for you. First, the reason for this intro: I'm joining big YouTubers Mr. Beast and Mark Robert, who started a global campaign called Team Seas to raise funds to clean up beaches, oceans and rivers all over the globe. $1 equals £1 less trash in our beautiful oceans and seas. So you can already make a difference with a small amount. And I will tell you more at the end, but first let's make a fun sea-themed card. I start with a piece of cardstock that's 7.5 by 12 inch and I'm going to score it at half of an inch. Next I make a score line at 1 inch, then I make another one at 6.5 inch and I score my last at 7 inch. Then I'm going to cut my cardstock to size. I cut it at 5.5 inch and this will give me 2 card panels. Use the beautiful Stamperia Sea Dream papers, which will match our theme perfectly. So I folded both cards on the score lines. I folded it to the back and the other flap to the front. So you get a sort of a zigzag. And I have a 5.5 by 5.5 card panel. Then I have a super fine scallop die that I use to cut one panel that's slightly smaller than my card. And 2 more panels that are slightly smaller. You can also use 3 same size panels. That will work as well. Then I've cut a circle out of the pattern paper and a bigger circle out of the cardstock. And this way the pattern paper fits on top of the cardstock without a chance of any cardstock peeping out from under. And this is what the layers look like when they are stacked. I'm going to ink the edges, the outside edge as well as the inside circle, and I also inked the cardstock. When I'm done inking, I'm going to add the pattern paper panel, and because the cardstock circle is bigger, I'm going to add some glue along the edges of that circle. And then I add the pattern paper panel in place. Card panels as well as for the background. Now you know me, I like to fussy cut. So I have fussy cut a few of those flowers that came out of the same pattern paper. I've added my first layer on the background so I can see what is showing and what not. And then I'm going to play around with the pieces that I have fussy cut already. So I just move them around a bit and then check with the next panel to see what is showing from there. And there I can already see that one of those flowers is not showing because of that big white flower that I'm going to add on top. Then I have some chipboard stickers that I also want to use. And I'm going to check which ones look best with the elements that I already have. And I think that seal will look really nice. Now I'm going to glue the first pieces in place. And I check with the circle where I want to add my glue. And I keep measuring with the background to see if I have my piece where I want it. I add a small flower at the top of the circle, gluing it to the back, and this will also create some extra dimension. 1 flower at the front and 1 flower at the back. I cut off the excess bit that is sticking out and I add a bit of ink to give that a nice finish again. Then I'm going to measure with the biggest flower, and you can also trace it on the inside with a pencil, and that way you know where you wanted your flower and where you need to add your glue, making it a bit easier. Then I add the flower in place, make sure to check if it's nicely placed on the front as well. And then I make sure that it can fold around those creases in the paper. Next I'm going to add my seal and I check with both circles to see if it's going to land exactly where I want it. Checking with those layers again. And I thought a seashell in front would also look really pretty. I'm adding another flower, one at the bottom and one at the top. And because the one at the bottom is sticking out, I'm adding a piece of paper to the back and I'm tearing that off so it doesn't stick anymore. And here are my 3 layers all ready to be assembled. So I've added a bit of tape and I peeled off the backing just partly, one to the inside and one to the outside. Now for the first part that is working, but for that second part it isn't, so you want those pieces to the outside so you can still reach them. For my second layer I folded both backing pieces to the side, and the one that's on the inside I peeled that back a little bit further so I can see which one is on the inside and which one I need to take off first. So you just fold it flat and line it up and then tape it in place. Once all my layers were in place, I thought it would look nice with an extra flower in the right top corner. That looked a bit empty. And this was my super easy 3D card that you can build from scratch without any specialty dies. And now let's get back to Team Seas. With Team C's, the goal is to remove 30 million pounds of trash out of the ocean. And for that we want to raise $30 million by the end of the year. We want more of this and not this. So they can do this. And you can already make a difference with $1 that equals 1 pound less trash in our beautiful ocean. So join the team and donate on teamseas.org. And I have the link for you in the description box below.